Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with the NFL draft just 1 month away. We got to go to our source, Rick Saratella, with the NFL Draft Bible. Rick, how you doing this afternoon?
Mark, it's been too long, man. Always love talking draft with you.
Oh, the NFL draft. It's just a beautiful thing. And I don't dive into it nearly as much as I would like, but I certainly have friends like you that haven't quite attained the draft Bible status, but are just freaks for the NFL draft, just nerds, and people can't get enough of it. And again, I just can't dive into it with what I'm doing, but I love the NFL draft. And so you got to get us caught up. So what we're going to do is take you through the offense, and you can catch some of us up on what's the latest and who you like. So the quarterback situation, obviously, it's the most important position. But in this year's draft, there's guys just crammed at the top of the draft board with the likes of course, the two Southern California quarterbacks in Rosen and Darnold. Of course, Baker Mayfield, his stock has just shot up in the last several months. And on down the line with, of course, Josh Allen, the mystery guy from Wyoming that nobody really saw play a whole lot of football unless you're really into Mountain West football. And then Mason Rudolph from there and on down the line. So who do you like? Who really is interested in these guys, and who may be a little undervalued?
Yeah, so it's a very rich quarterback class this year. And I think, there's going to be a lot of quarterback action, a lot of moving and shaking at the top of the draft. Sam Darnold right now looks like the first pick in the draft from what you're hearing for Cleveland. Now, ironically, he's probably the third quarterback on my board. I just, didn't like what I saw from a decision-making process. The turnovers tend to worry me a little bit more. When you invest a first-round pick on a quarterback, he's going to have to play immediately, which means, Sam Darnold, if he starts a quarterback game next year, he'll be the second youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a game next to Tommy Maddox. So, I think you're putting a lot of eggs in that basket. And I think, when you watch that UCLA-USC game like I did, I saw a much better decision maker in Josh Rosen, a guy that could fit the ball into tight windows. And, say what you want about Josh Rosen. I don't always agree with what he says, but I love it. It's refreshing to me to see a young quarterback, a young athlete, speak their mind and not be so robotic in their responses. And I like what Josh Rosen brings to the table. I know, a lot of people are ragging on him a little bit because he comes from a rich family and his family has money. He has concussions. And I know the sports talk radio here in New York, New Jersey, they said, oh, this guy gets a concussion or two. Why does he need to play? Well, he's giving you the flip side of that and said, that goes to show how much I love the game, as a matter of fact, because I don't need to play. And that's just the love and passion that he has for the game. So for me, it's Rosen 1. I actually have Josh Allen 2 and Sam Darnold 3. You mentioned Allen, coming from the same offensive system and same coaching staff, as a matter of fact, Carson Wentz did years ago. Guys, so you can't teach it. It remains to be seen if, he can develop and be more than a Jeff George, be more than a Jamarcus Russell, and do something with that arm strength. So I think those three guys, to me, will be off the board in the top 10 or 12 picks. And then I think a Baker Mayfield is more of this, media built up hype than you really are going to see on draft day. I think, I'm not sure if he's going to the draft or not, but I think he could be sitting in the green room a little bit longer than what people anticipate.
So what can't Baker Mayfield do? Because from a playmaking standpoint, there's nobody that rivals him within these group of quarterbacks at the college level.
Right.
But transferring to the NFL, what's missing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, great college player, not so sure how it translates to the NFL. I think you have to get creative. I think you have to, if you do select the Baker Mayfield, it's not to say that he can't be successful. But you have to do it with like what the Tennessee Titans did, build the offense around him, have a moving pocket, maybe, not as strong of an arm as a Josh Allen, but he has a very strong arm, but he's just a notch below. And I think, let's not discredit the size factor. I mean, everybody thinks that, being Drew Brees and being Russell Wilson is so easy. But, going back, I think Doug Flutie might have been the other 6 foot, quarterback under 6 feet to start a game. I mean, these guys don't really come necessarily along too far, the exception to the rule. And, I think he's a great college player. I think there's a lot to be seen. of course, if you go to a big market, we all saw the DUI footage and some of the things he's done off the field. You take a look at this morning, Odell Beckham Jr. You take a fiery personality and you throw him into a big, large city. How toxic can that be for a Baker Mayfield? And those are some of the concerns that I do have.
Now, Josh Allen doing what I do, I've seen a ton of the other guys because I watch the big Power Five teams. Josh Allen didn't know a whole lot about him. I was all geared up to watch the bowl game. I settled in and he went boom, boom, boom down the field, 2 consecutive drives. It got a little ugly and didn't see a whole lot of Josh Allen right there, but it looked good. Senior Bowl, didn't know the game was going on, forgot about it, was entrenched in other stuff. All of a sudden I see something on Twitter, Senior Bowl, and I'm like, okay, got to catch the second half. And they were talking about how Josh Allen just had a horrible showing at the Senior Bowl. He comes out for the second half, and there was speculation that he actually pushed for more playing time to say, hey, I want to write this. And he came out and he was slinging it all over the place in tight windows. He was throwing some beautiful passes and looked the part, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's like Paul Orndorff, body beautiful. He's going to pass the eye test, Mr. Wonderful. And, he'll just, even at his pro day, you saw him just flick the wrist 75, 80 yards down the field, like no problem. And ironically, the Senior Bowl, everybody kept playing that highlight. Baker Mayfield came. They have the little targets 1, 2, and 3, and Mayfield comes up, hits the targets. Here comes Josh Allen. Not only does he not come close, he throws it over the target entirely. So, a lot of people that highlight got a lot of run. But like you said, he did bounce back. He had a phenomenal pro day for whatever that's worth in gym shorts and a T-shirt. But I think that, the completion percentage is a little bit disturbing. And outside of Matt Ryan, I think there's 9 quarterbacks, not a big stat guy, 9 quarterbacks, though, that did start an NFL game with a career completion percentage under 60%. After Matthew Stafford, I think the next best guys are like Trevor Siemian and Jake Locker. So it's not a very good statistic right there when you talk about completion percentage, which, you have to wonder a little bit because last year he had 3 receivers go for 1,000 yards. I think 2 guys made the NFL. Another guy was in an NFL camp. So the story that he didn't have a supporting cast around him this year, he did have it last year, and the completion percentage was very similar. So I think, quite honestly, Josh Rosen is a guy that can step in, play immediately. I think all these other guys need to bide their time, get a little bit of season.
And Rick, both of us, sometimes during the course of a Saturday and Sunday, are we watching games and we see a quarterback sail one down the middle, and it doesn't hit the ground. It finds a free safety back in the back end who's bringing it back. So that is not a great skill to have. It's great to watch during pro day, but if you let it fly, bad things sometimes happen.